Greetings, philosophers. Today, we're diving into a big, juicy topic: existentialism. Now, don't let that word scare you off. It's not some dusty academic term reserved for pretentious coffee shop debates. Existentialism is about you, me, and the messy, beautiful, sometimes terrifying business of being human. It's about asking the big questions. Why am I here? What's the point of it all? And what do I do with this wild, fleeting life? So let's get philosophical and unpack this together. Existentialism is a philosophy that says life doesn't come with a pre-written script. There's no cosmic instruction manual, no divine PowerPoint presentation telling you what your purpose is. Instead, you're thrown into the world, and it's up to you to figure out what it all means. That's both freeing and a little daunting, right? Imagine waking up on a stage, spotlight on you, and you've got to improvise the whole play. That's the existentialist idea. Let's start with the guy who's often called the father of existentialism, Søren Kierkegaard. He was a Danish thinker in the 19th century, a bit of a moody genius, always wrestling with big questions about faith and existence. Kierkegaard said, life is about making choices, and those choices define who you are. He wasn't interested in abstract theories. He wanted to know how you live authentically in a world that often feels chaotic. For him, it was about taking a leap of faith, even when you're not sure what's on the other side. Think of it like jumping into a cold lake on a summer day. You don't know if it'll be refreshing or a shock, but you jump anyway because that's what living is. Now, Kierkegaard was a Christian, so his leap was often toward faith in God, but existentialism doesn't require a religious ticket. Fast forward to the 20th century, and you've got folks like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir who took existentialism in a more secular direction. Sartre, this chain-smoking French philosopher, famously said, "Existence precedes essence." That's a fancy way of saying you're not born with a fixed purpose. A chair? It's made to be sat on. A hammer? It's for banging nails. But you? You're not a chair or a hammer. You're a blank canvas, and you paint your own meaning through the choices you make. Let's break that down. Imagine you're at a crossroads in life. Maybe you're deciding whether to take a risky new job, move to a new city, or even just what kind of person you want to be. Existentialism says there's no right answer waiting out there in the universe. You create the right answer by choosing and committing to it. That's what Sartre meant by freedom. But here's the plot twist. With freedom comes responsibility. You can't blame your parents, society, or the stars for how your life turns out. It's on you. That's both empowering and, let's be honest, kind of heavy. Simone de Beauvoir, Sartre's partner in both philosophy and life, took this idea and ran with it. She was a brilliant thinker who brought existentialism to questions of identity, especially for women. In her book, The Second Sex, she argued that society tries to box women into preset roles, but existentialism says you can break out of those boxes. You're not just a product of your culture or your circumstances. You get to define yourself. That's a radical idea, especially when you think about how much pressure we all face to fit in, whether it's from social media, family expectations, or just the general noise of the world. But existentialism isn't all sunshine and freedom. There's a shadow side, and it's called angst. That's the sinking feeling you get when you realize life doesn't have a built-in meaning, and you're the one who has to make it up. Albert Camus, another big name in existentialism, described this as the absurd. Life is absurd because we keep looking for answers in a universe that stays stubbornly silent. Camus had this great image of Sisyphus, the guy from Greek myth, doomed to push a boulder up a hill forever, only for it to roll back down. Sounds pointless, right? But Camus said Sisyphus can still find joy in the act of pushing, in defying the absurdity by living fully anyway. It's like saying, yeah, life might not make sense, but I'm going to make it mine. So what does all this mean for us, regular folks who aren't chain smoking in Parisian cafes or brooding in Danish alleyways. Well, existentialism is like a wake-up call. It's an invitation to stop sleepwalking through life and start asking yourself what you really care about. Maybe it's your relationships, your art, your career, or just finding moments of joy in a chaotic world. The point is, you get to decide. Nobody hands you a gold star for living the right way. There's no such thing. There's just your way, the one you carve out through your choices. Let's get practical for a second. Think about the last time you faced a big decision. Maybe it was whether to stay in a relationship or walk away, or whether to chase a dream that felt out of reach. Existentialism says those moments are where you become who you are. They're not just choices, they're acts of creation. But it also means owning the consequences. You can't say, well, society made me do it, or it was fate. It's you, standing in the spotlight, writing your own story. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds exhausting. And yeah, sometimes it is. Facing the void of meaning can feel like staring into a dark abyss. But here's the flip side. It's also liberating. If nothing's set in stone, then you're free to experiment, to fail, to try again. You're not locked into someone else's idea of a good life. You can reinvent yourself over and over. That's what makes existentialism so alive, so raw. It's philosophy for people who want to grab life by the horns. Before we wrap up, let's talk about one more existentialist, Friedrich Nietzsche. He's the guy who declared, "God is dead," which sounds dramatic, but really meant that the old frameworks of meaning, like religion or tradition, weren't holding up anymore. Nietzsche wasn't saying to give up, though. He challenged us to become Übermenschen, or supermen, not in a cape-wearing superhero way, but as people who create their own values and live boldly. It's like he's saying, the world's a blank page, write something epic. So, as we leave the philosophy zone today, here's your takeaway. Existentialism isn't about finding answers, it's about embracing the questions. It's about waking up each day and saying, this is my life, and I'm going to make it mean something. Maybe that's through love, creativity, or just savouring a really good sandwich. Whatever it is, it's yours to choose. So go out there, face the absurd, and write your own story. Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, keep questioning, keep choosing, and keep living.